Danny Gable's 1997 Iowa Hawkeyes still hold the all-time NCAA scoring record. But can this year's team break 170 points? Let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name's Josiah, and welcome to Big Ten Tuesday here during NCAA Championships Week, and this is a big one. The question of the day is, can the Iowa Hawkeyes legitimately break the all-time NCAA record of 170 points? In this video, if you're a stats person, you're going to absolutely love it because I'm diving into every single thing that the Iowa Hawkeyes need to do this year in order to break that all-time scoring record. Wouldn't that be something crazy if the Hawkeyes did it? I don't know if it can happen, but I'm going to be diving into how it can happen. So first we have to talk about what made that 1997 team so darn successful. How were they able to actually score 170 points in the championships? So the reason they were able to do this, they had 5 champions and 8 All-Americans. The Iowa team put 6 guys in the finals, and 3 guys actually outperformed the seed from the beginning of the tournament and got into the finals, which is pretty darn crazy. Ironside, McElravy, Joe Williams, they all dominated their way through the tournament, and between those guys, they actually scored 8 matches. They had bonus points in 8 of their matches between the 3 of those guys. And a lot of them were techs and pins throughout the tournament, which is just absolutely absurd. And we could be expecting that from some of the guys this year. I'll get to how much bonus they have to score in a little bit. So the whole team honestly just overperformed, and that was one of the key factors of them scoring 170 points. There were no slackers on this team at all. Interestingly enough, coming into this tournament, they were supposed to score about 92.5 points, and they finished with 170. So they pretty much almost doubled what they were supposed to score at the beginning of this tournament, which is absolutely absurd. So just off of placings alone, they scored about 140 points, almost 140 points, but really where a lot of their points came in was with bonus points. And that's what you see with these championship teams that just break these types of records is bonus is super, super important. They had 7 major decisions. They had 3 tech falls and 9 pins throughout the tournament. So they actually won 19 out of their 46 matches by bonus points. That is what made this team so darn successful. 41% of their matches they won by bonus points. So let's compare now that team and their seeds to where the Iowa Hawkeyes are now. Now the good thing is, if you're an Iowa Hawkeyes fan and you're looking and comparing these teams, the Iowa Hawkeyes today, the 2021 Iowa Hawkeyes were actually seeded a lot better than the team in 1997. Now, the cool thing was they outperformed in 1997. We'll see if they can perform at this championships. There's a lot of things that are going to have to go right for the Iowa Hawkeyes to outscore the record. So let's look at these two things, a couple of different comparisons here. There are a lot of seeds are better. The Iowa Hawkeyes this year have 4 number 1 seeds. They have 4 others in All-American positions, so that's top 8, and they have 2 guys in the blood round. So basically, if you're 10, 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, you are going to get into the blood round. Now, this year, Iowa's team is poised to score a little bit over, almost 125 points, and that is without bonus points, without anything else calculated. So they're poised to score about 125 points. That's pretty darn good just off of placings alone. So I'm going to get into where the Iowa Hawkeyes need to place, and some of them, they're going to have to do better than their seeds. That's one of the key factors that goes into things here. But first, if you don't understand the scoring, let's talk about the 3 ways to really score points for your team. And you got to capitalize on every single one of these. One is you receive points for advancing in the tournament. You receive 1 point if you're in the championship bracket up until the finals where you've advanced enough. You don't get a point for advancing if you win it. You get half a point every time you advance in the constellation. So it's still very imperative to advance in the consies. You receive bonus points for pins, 2 points for a pin. You receive 1.5 points for a tech and 1 point for a major decision throughout every single match. And you will also receive points for placing. So if you win the tournament, you get 16 points. You get 12 points for second place. So there's a 4-point difference there, little gap. And then third place is 10 points, and then it goes down from there up until 8th place. So those are the 3 ways you're able to score points. So what do the Iowa Hawkeyes need to place in order for them to do well at this tournament? So they need to have 5 finalists. They need Lee, Ironman, Marinelli, Kemmer, and they need somebody else to get into the finals. And I actually have Austin DeSanto potentially making the finals. Now, listen, these aren't based on what I think the Iowa Hawkeyes were finishing. This isn't my opinion. This is what they need to finish and kind of the best case scenarios for each of these guys based on where they are in the bracket. So DeSanto is somebody, he's going to probably run into a Mickey Philippi and then a Dayton Fix, potentially in the semis. It's not going to be an easy match, but he's seeded 4th right now. And he's the guy who I think could make the finals out of all the Iowa Hawkeyes that aren't the number 1 seed. They need 3 lower placing, so anywhere else in All-American position, between Caleb Young, Jacob Warner, and Anthony Cassiope. Now, Cassiope is somebody who I believe is going to I think he can actually place high. I mean, you saw he had a great performance at the Big Ten Championships. I mean, rough match against Mesa Paris, but he had a great performance there. But they need one of these guys, whoever it is. It doesn't matter if it's Murin, Brands, Young, Warner, Cassiope. They need one of them to at least place 3rd. Because this team doesn't have is probably not going to have as many finalists as the team back then. Now, we'll see. Maybe there's some crazy upsets, and I'd love to see that happen. But that's what's going to happen. They're going to have to place higher than them if they can't have every single champ. And then they need a couple guys in the blood round as well. Murin and Brands right now are the 2 guys that are looking like they could be in the blood round. One of them is going to have to escape that, though, get one past that, and actually place top 7th or 8th. I think Murin's the guy who can find a way to get it done. Didn't have the best performance at Big Ten Championships, but he's shown that he can perform in the past. It's not, I mean, maybe it was a fluke. I don't know. We'll find out at the championships, but he needs that to happen. So if all of that happens, let me bring up this little overlay again with where the wrestlers must place. If all of that happens, they will be scoring 131 points here. That's no bonus, just off of the placings alone. So they need to find a way now to score 40 more points. 39 to tie it, but they need to find a way to score 40 more points. So can they do that based on their bonus points and based on kind of how they performed this season and even in past NCAA championships? So the 1997 team, as I mentioned earlier, scored 19 matches by bonus points. They won 19 matches by bonus points out of their 46 matches. So let's look exactly at some of the things that the Hawkeyes will have to do this season. I looked at where I have the Hawkeyes placing, potentially, for best case scenario, and how many matches I believe each of these guys can win by bonus points. So I'm just taking you exactly through the process of what I did for seeing how Iowa can win the trophy, or not just win the trophy, but blow the competition out of the water. Spencer Lee, he's been bonusing all season. He has 100% bonus point percentage. Austin DeSanto is another guy who is just crazy great in scoring bonus points. I think he can continue to do that. Ironman is somebody who can do that as well. And you look at some of these other guys like that I have in the lower blood rounds, placing rounds, they're still going to have to win some matches by bonus points. They're going to have to pick up at least 1 or 2 matches by bonus point decision. And honestly, the Concies is a place to get it done. Even if you lose out in the championship round, you got to find a way to win in the Concies. Kemmer is another guy who's just crushing his way this year. Now, I do want to say the one thing here, okay, is Iowa isn't a huge bonus point team. You look at especially, and this year they have been to some extent, and I'll get to exactly how good their bonus is and what their team average is, but they're not a huge bonus point team. Marinelli actually, this surprised me. I didn't even realize it. He hasn't won a match by bonus point this year yet. Now, I think he can, in the first couple rounds, squeak out 1 or 2 bonus points, whether it's a major attack or a pin or something like that. But that's kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy to me. So, if we're looking based off of kind of all the number of matches that I have the Hawkeyes winning bonus by, I have about 25 matches. But that's absolute max to me. Like, that's best case scenario for all of these guys is they get 25 matches, they win by bonus point. Now, interestingly enough, you compare that and you get about 1.5. Well, I'll get to the 1.5 in a second, but interestingly enough, you look at the team average and compare that to a recent team that is known for scoring bonus points. In 2007, Penn State team, when they had Bo Nickel, Jason Nolf, Vincenzo Joseph, Zane Rutherford. I mean, this was a team that was just scoring bonus, and they had about a 51% overall team average bonus point percentage. The Iowa Hawkeyes this season have about a 44% team average. Just some interesting statistics that I wanted to throw out at you so you kind of understood how the team is. So based on those 25 bonus point wins, let's say the Hawkeyes are able to get 25 bonus points or 25 matches by bonus point. I pretty much average it out saying, okay, well, some of those will be majors, some of those will be techs, some of those will be pins. It's about 1.5 points that they'll get for a bonus point match win. So that is, and this is crazy, and then you're pretty much going to get the team total here, is 37, almost 38 points. So 37.5 points is what they would get here. So adding in the placings of 131 points and now the bonus points of almost 38 points, we are at 169 total points. And I'm kidding you not. Like, this is exactly the process that I went through. The best case scenarios for Iowa, what exactly they need to do, and I got 169 points. The reason that this is so crazy is that the all-time record is 170 points. They were 1 point off just based on my calculations that I've been doing, so they just fall short. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat it this year. If so, they're going to have all of the above go their way. They're going to have to put 5 guys in the finals. 4 of them are going to have to win it, and that's not an easy task to win an NCAA championship. They're going to have all their guys perform. Similar to that 1997 team, everybody must be on board and perform. They're going to have to All-American 4 other guys. They're going to have to get a 3rd place, a couple of 5th places or higher, an 8th place or higher. And if they get higher, maybe that they are able to get over the hump there and get the 170 points. But everybody's going to have to perform at their absolute best. They're going to have to push all their guys at least into the blood round. I mean, at the very least, into the blood round. And they're going to have to win 50% of their matches by bonus point, which, as I said, is actually overperforming what they have done all season. So I actually don't know if this year's team can break the all-time scoring record. I think it would be crazy if they did. I'd like to know what you think. Do you think that my calculations were correct? Do you think that they're wrong? Do you think I'm over-optimistic about what could happen with this Iowa Hawkeyes team? And drop a comment. Will Iowa, above or under 50% chance that Iowa breaks the all-time scoring record?